YouTube, this is Christian Brindle here, licensed insurance agent specializing in Medicare health plans. And today we're going to talk about what is Medicare Advantage. You've probably seen a lot of advertisements recently specifically about Medicare Advantage on the television with the Joe Namath commercials saying that you get all this free stuff like dental, vision, hearing, with all of the commercials that are advertising $0 premium plans. What is it all about? What do these plans have to deal with, and what are they actually? Let's get into it. Medicare Advantage can best be explained as almost like a replacement plan of sorts. I have to tread very lightly because there's a million and one government-regulated rules and what I as an insurance agent can say about Medicare Advantage and the terminology I'm allowed to use, but I think that's probably a pretty good analogy. Now, this is basically the way that Medicare Advantage plans work. Medicare, of course, as most of you know, and if you don't, now you do, Medicare starts always and revolves around original Medicare from the government. You have Medicare Parts A and you have Medicare Parts B, of course, right? Medicare Part A comes to you at $0 in premium, as long as you have the proper working credits, which typically can be defined as 10 years of working full-time in the United States of America or more. That's basically what you paid into for FICA taxes, Social Security throughout your life. Now, Medicare Part B, on the other hand, typically has a monthly premium attached to it of $144.60 a month in 2020 as I record this video. Now, it can be more if you were in a higher tax bracket, but that's a topic for another video. So basically, the way that Medicare Advantage works is when you have Medicare Parts A and B, what they do is they typically will provide you medical coverage. They fit like two pieces of a puzzle that fit together to give you medical coverage. And the medical coverage that they provide typically gives you 80% of coverage after certain deductibles are met. So basically, Medicare pays 80% and you're left behind with 20%. Now, Medicare has a lot of things they don't cover, such as Part D is not included. Part D can be best described as D for drugs, prescription plans. They're typically not going to provide you with dental, vision, and hearing coverage by itself. So there's some things that Medicare doesn't cover that a lot of people think is necessary. That's where Medicare Advantage comes in. The way that Medicare Advantage typically works is you're going to, in a sense, run your Medicare directly through a private insurance company. Now, without naming any names, I'm sure you can think of several companies off the top of your head that may do programs like this. And depending on what state you're watching this in, it's going to vary a little bit based on the state that you're watching this from. Now, the private insurance companies, the way this works is they're going to come through and take over, in a sense. They're going to replace your Medicare, in a sense. That's why doctors commonly refer to them as replacement plans. Now, Medicare in and of itself, when this happens, is they don't have to pay 80% of your medical bills anymore. That takes a huge burden off of Medicare's shoulders, as I'm sure you might be able to understand. So in exchange, Medicare is going to fund this private insurance company every month to take care of you. And they get quite a bit of funding from this. That's why the insurance companies advertise these so heavily. They get this funding from Medicare. Because they're getting this funding from Medicare, Medicare does it because they don't have to pay the 80%, like I said, anymore. So they determine that over a mass scale, they're probably going to save money by not having to pay 80% of someone's medical bills and just funding X amount of dollars to this private insurance company or multiple different private insurance companies for a lot of different people. The insurance company is getting the funding, so because of that, typically Medicare Advantage plans do not cost large amounts of premium. In fact, most markets nowadays are going to be able to offer plans for no premium. And if they do have a premium, it's probably going to be fairly limited, maybe $20 a month, $30 a month, $40 a month. It kind of just depends on the state and the market you live in. But the $0 premium plans are becoming more and more popular as the years go on, as Medicare Advantage grows instead of takes a step back. Now, what kind of coverage can you expect to get from a Medicare Advantage plan? Well, it works something like this. Now, on the medical side of things, one thing we have to understand about Medicare Advantage plans is they typically do have a lot of working parts. They're going to work very similarly to any type of work insurance or other type of health insurance you probably have had throughout your lifetime. So most people when they have a health insurance plan, they're going to have all of their benefits combined into one program. It's going to have their medical. It's going to have their prescription coverage. It's going to have dental, vision, hearing in a lot of cases, all wrapped into one plan. And Medicare Advantage plans are no different. It's going to be an all-in-one inclusive plan. That's why if you see commercials for Medicare Advantage, they mention it's an all-in-one plan. It's a one card for everything kind of plan. But there's a lot that they don't tell you in those commercials, which we're going to break into. The medical benefits work something like this. Instead of you paying 20% coinsurance for all out-of-pocket like you would with original Medicare, with Medicare Advantage plans, your medical is going to basically be broken down to a copay. Now, this is going to vary based on the plan and the market and the state that you're watching this from, but typically you can expect copays that look something like this. And the copays are going to vary based on how large of a charge we're looking at here, but you can kind of expect something along the lines of maybe $5 to $10 for a primary care physician visit. Now, in some markets and some plans, you might be able to get that for no copay. It just depends. Some plans are going to be better than others in certain markets. You might be able to look at possibly a $30 to $40 specialist copay in a lot of places. So to see a specialty doctor, that's not your primary care physician. Some Medicare Advantage plans will require you to get referrals in order to see a specialty doctor. And some will not. It kind of just depends on the type of program you're going with. Usually you're going to be looking at, I'd say, probably $80 to $90 copay for an emergency room visit. So with most Medicare Advantage plans, as you probably have noticed by what I'm explaining here, you don't have large deductibles that you have to meet like most health insurance plans in order for you to get coverage. You basically just pay a copay. Now there are some Medicare Advantage plans, few and far between out there, that do have some kind of medical deductible included. I try to stay away from these for my own clients and customers unless it's a specific situation where it's the best fit for that person. But very, very few and far between you'll find that. Usually you're just looking at a copay and nothing more. If you're going to spend the night in the hospital as an inpatient, you're probably, depending on where you live, going to be paying anywhere between $100 to $400 per day in the hospital. And usually they'll charge that for anywhere between 1 to 5 days or maybe even 1 to 8 days, depending on the plan. And that's going to be basically your whole bill. Everything that happens to you while you're in the hospital spending the night is included in that bill. Most health insurance plans bill you separately for every little thing that happens while you're there. You get a separate bill for the anesthesiologist. You get a separate bill for the hospital room, the bed, the walls. They give you an aspirin. It's a $500 bill or something ridiculous like that. With Medicare Advantage plans, you're going to have all your entire bill has to be included in one thing. It's very unique in that regard. And Medicare Advantage plans require that they contract with hospitals and providers in such a way that the claims are going to be all in one in the event of an inpatient hospital stay. So that's something that's very important to know. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Christian, this is kind of looking like it can get kind of expensive if I use it enough, and it's true, it can, but typically Medicare Advantage plans are going to come with some kind of maximum out-of-pockets. It could be $3,000 max out-of-pocket. And the max out-of-pocket is basically the maximum that you can spend in a calendar year in medical copays. It's not a deductible. It's not to say that you have to pay that before you receive coverage. It's your max out-of-pocket. So if you go to the doctor and it's a $10 copay, let's say, that $10 copay that you spent goes towards your max out-of-pocket, and that's all. So it's very hard to reach these even when they're lower. The maximum that the max out-of-pockets could be in this year of 2020 is $6,700 for in-network services. There are some plans that allow you to go in and out of network, and sometimes those out-of-network out-of-pockets can be up to $10,000. Now that's the next thing I want to get into here is networks. Medicare Advantage plans all typically are going to come with networks of hospitals and doctors. Basically, like most health insurances, you'll have my chicken scratch. Like most health insurances, you're going to have networks of hospitals and doctors that basically the insurance company is contracted with some, but maybe not all of them. So you basically have to make sure that any plan that you are picking covers the hospital systems and the doctors that you prefer to go to. Some Medicare Advantage plans are going to have great big networks and lots of selections of hospitals and doctors. Some plans are going to have itsy bitsy tiny networks. Usually, from my experience as a broker, I've been doing this for quite some time, I typically see that 99 people out of 100 that have problems with Medicare Advantage plans, typically it has something to do with they signed up for a plan that didn't cover their doctor and they didn't realize that these networks were an issue. Typically that's the case. And that can be prevented by working with a good broker that can check all of these networks for you and see which ones are going to cover your doctors and hospitals. Now, in addition to that, Medicare Advantage plans also, like I mentioned, have the prescription coverage built in. So you have to make sure whatever plan you're picking covers your prescriptions and covers them well. Medicare Advantage plans are going to have their own formularies, and they're going to have prescriptions they cover well, and they're going to have prescriptions they might not cover as well. So you have to look at that. Medicare Advantage plans also do come with typically some kind of extra benefits like dental, vision, hearing, although some plans have more benefits than others. In your market specifically, it could be that you have plans that give you multiple thousands of dollars of coverage for all kinds of benefits like implants and crowns and bridges and all that kind of stuff. Or the plans in your area could possibly only cover preventative dental like cleanings, x-rays, exams. When they advertise free dental, it could be just as basic as cleanings, x-rays, exams. So you got to make sure you're aware of that before you sign up for a plan thinking that's going to pay for a crown. You got to make sure you understand those benefits. Typically with Medicare Advantage plans, you're going to get extra benefits as well, such as programs like Silver Sneakers or Silver and Fit, which basically pay for you to go to a gym for free, which is kind of nice. Different programs have different benefits in that regard. A lot of times you can get benefits like transportation, a service to take you to a doctor's appointment if you need that. A lot of times you can get benefits such as over-the-counter item essentials, which basically helps pay for things like aspirin, ibuprofen, fish oil, Band-Aids, vitamins. So there's a lot of working parts, but I believe that if you understand your Medicare Advantage plan ahead of time, you're going to be much better off for it. And the main things you want to look at is the medical copays, the medical max out-of-pockets, the medical benefits as a whole. Make sure that you have a plan that covers your ideal network of hospitals and doctors. Make sure your prescriptions are covered and covered as well as they can be, because it's different for different plans. And make sure that you're satisfied with the ancillary benefits such as the dental, vision, hearing if it's available in excess in your market. Thanks so much for watching this, folks. If you enjoyed this video and you found this educational and helpful for your Medicare journey, do me a favor and drop a like on this video. It helps us reach more people just like you who need to hear our message. And subscribe for future Medicare videos and Medicare content, and drop a comment down in the comment section on what you'd like to hear me talk about or break down for you in future videos. Have a great day.